Oh, man. Well, we got an accident here. It's my first fusion accident in this game. Oh, White Rider. Ambush and Treasure Hunter? Oh, yeah, that's better than what I was gonna do. When it comes to Persona titles, and SMT titles as well, one of the things that really sets them apart is their complex fusion systems, which can allow for a wide range of different strategies. It's one of the core components that provides so much depth to these games, and even in their spin-off titles, this depth is usually mostly maintained. Persona 5 Strikers, for example, did cut back on the total number of persona you could get, the number of skills that a persona could learn, and some of the functions of the Velvet Room that were present in Persona 5 Royal, but overall it was a fairly complete system with plenty of depth to it. Persona 5 Tactica, though, changes this, impacting the role that Persona play in this title. So perhaps the biggest change to Persona and Persona 5 Tactica is that Persona can now only learn 2 skills, a unique skill and an inherited skill. Basically, the unique skill is the base skill that each Persona in the game comes with. Jack-o'-lantern has Augie, Huapo has Dia, Phoenix has Hawkeye, etc. While these are called unique skills in-game, many are not actually unique and are really just innate skills. Now, in addition to a Persona's unique skill, they can learn one more skill via fusion that is passed down during the fusion process, giving a Persona 2 skills max. No skills are learned from leveling up, and other sources to learn skills that were present in past titles, such as skill cards, are also not a thing in Persona 5 Tactica. On the plus side though, all unique skills can be passed down via fusion, so there is that, I guess. The next big change you'll notice with Persona in Tactica is that Persona now only have 4 stats: HP, SP, melee damage, and gun damage. Stats such as strength, magic, endurance, agility, and luck are not present, and neither are elemental weaknesses and resistances. Another significant change is that physical skills have also been removed. No more Swift Strike, no more Brave Blade, and for you Yoshitsune fans out there, no more Hasotobi. Magic skills do remain, but due to the removal of elemental weaknesses and resistances, their usage is somewhat different in Tactica. Damage from magic is still certainly viable, though it is much more character restricted now, which we will get to later. The main role of magic now is to apply status ailments and to manipulate enemies. Whenever you use any magic skill on an enemy in cover, it will remove them from cover, allowing you to then get a knockdown on that enemy with one of your other party members in order to set up one more chains for movement, damage, and all-out attacks. If the magic used could apply a status ailment, then that ailment will be applied as well. As for these ailments, Burn, Freeze, Shock, Hypnotize, Dizzy, and Despair are present, each with their own negative impact on the enemy. Garu and Frey act a bit differently though, as instead of applying a status ailment, they manipulate enemy positioning, with Frey dragging enemies into a centralized location, and Garu knocking enemies away from their current position. So now that we've established how Persona, and by extension Persona Fusion, have been simplified in Persona 5 Tactica, what role do they play now? Well, simply put, they're your equipment. You see, in Persona 5 Tactica, the only actual piece of equipment in the traditional sense that your characters can equip is their gun. There are no melee weapons, no armor, and no accessories. Instead, each of your party members can now equip one persona in addition to their main one. And yes, this one persona limit does also apply to Joker as well. So how this works is that each character is assumed to have their main persona at all times, providing their base stats and access to a skill tree, more on that shortly. And then each party member can also equip one persona that you have either gotten randomly after a battle, or one that you have obtained via fusion. This one persona that you equip will then augment the character they are equipped to, increasing their HP, SP, melee damage, and gun damage by an amount equal to that persona's stats. And then the skills that that persona has will also be available to that character. Now let's talk about that skill tree thing I mentioned. In addition to their gun and one equipped persona, each character has a skill tree which essentially represents their main persona. So Arsene for Joker, Zoro for Morgana, and so on. Taking a look at Joker's skill tree, we can see that it is broken down into 3 main sections: the Great Thief, Nocturnal Wings, and Rebellious Resolve. And for the most part, each character's skill tree is laid out in the same fashion. The left tree focuses on their primary elemental skill, special attack, and support skill. The middle tree focuses on their deployed passive ability, charge buff, and follow-up attacks. And finally, the right tree focuses on things such as SP restoration, healing from all-out attacks, movement capabilities, and other utility. Now if you recall, I did mention earlier in the video that using magic skills to deal damage is still viable, but is much more character restricted. And this skill tree system is the main reason for this. Passive skills that amplified magic damage, such as Fire Boost, Fire Amp, and whatnot, are now part of the character skill trees. On the far left-hand side of each character's skill tree is a series of passives that contain the Boost, Amp, and the newly added Mega Booster for each respective main element. By investing skill points into these passives, you can amplify the damage of magic skills, making them a viable source of damage, but only for that character's main element. No more Joker being a jack-of-all-trades who can deal good magic damage with all elements due to carrying around a bunch of different persona in his stock. He's now restricted to the AHA line of skills. And that'll do it for this quick video on Persona and Persona Fusion in Persona 5 Tactica. If you found this video helpful and informative and want to see more Persona 5 Tactica content from me, be sure to like the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you have any questions about this video, Persona 5 Tactica, or any other game that I cover, you can hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/RosalindGaming or on my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description below. Until next time, take care.